major from Winston-Salem, North Carolina.
Okay. So why did you choose political science?
Because I intend to go into a career in the legal field, such as being a lawyer and later a judge. And political science here at North Carolina Central, we have one of the best political science programs among the HBCUs. And it's really research and writing focused, and I believe those are really great tools to have going into the legal profession.
Okay. And so I know you said you're from Winston-Salem, but I think we talked about maybe your family being from somewhere else. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so my father, he's from Nassau, Bahamas. And my mom, she's from Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
They met in Washington, D.C., and they moved down to Winston-Salem to pastor a church together.
Okay. Great. So can you tell us a little bit about your grandparents, like where they're from, a little bit about them?
My grandparents on my dad's side, they're also from Nassau, Bahamas. Well, they're from the Bahamian Islands. My grandma, I believe she's from another island such as Eleuthera.
Mm-hmm.
It starts with an E. It's either Eleuthera or Exuma.
Mm-hmm.
And then my grandparents on my mom's side, they met in the military. They were both in the military. And my Nana, she lived in New York for some time as a young girl. My granddad, I'm actually not sure where he's from, but a lot of my family's in either Alabama or Ohio or the Bahamas.
Okay. And then can you tell me some interesting like kind of history behind like some of your family members? Like, cause I know we were talking about your grandma, I think, was in the military.
Yes, both my grandparents on my mom's side were in the military.
Mm-hmm.
And on my dad's side, there's a lot of, on both sides of my family actually, there's a long history of like doing ministry in church.
Mm-hmm.
So my grandparents on my dad's side, my papa is a bishop, my grandma is an elder in the church, and they started a ministry in the Bahamas called Great Commission Ministries, where they feed, clothe, and house the homeless or underprivileged, and also help with hurricane relief in the Bahamas and abroad. And my parents, they're also in ministry. My dad is a bishop, my mom is a pastor, and on my mom's side, my grandpa is also like minister.
Okay. So do you know much about your grandma's time in the military?
I know that my mom was conceived.
Okay.
She almost served in Desert Storm.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom, she was a little girl. She was very worried about that actually, but thankfully my Nana wasn't drafted to go fight.
Okay, so are there any heirlooms or keepsakes that you would consider in your family?
I don't believe so. The closest thing that I've kind of come into contact with was a ring that my mom gave me when I was about 12 or 13. It was a little gold ring with a red ruby on it, and her parents gave it to her for her 16th birthday, and she gave it to me, and I wanted to give it to my daughter later in life, but then it fell off my finger into a mall toilet and flushed because it was one of those automatic toilets, so that's gone. But my parents got me another ring.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so how do you feel like you honor your family's legacy?
I honor my family's legacy of ministry by making sure I always have a good relationship with God.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't really want to be in ministry in the capacity that they've been, but I always try to be involved in some capacity in church, like singing or dancing, something like that. And just using my talents to the best of my abilities in other areas of life. My parents, they're both doctors. They both have their doctoral degrees. And their biggest mission lately has just been to really set up a really good launching pad for me and my younger brother so that we can go even further in life than they did.
Okay. I think we may have discussed this previously, but I want to ask again. What was it that you specifically wanted to do with your degree after graduation?
I will be starting law school in the fall of 2025.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still waiting to hear back from some law schools and decide which I'm going to.
Mm-hmm.
But law school is about 2 to 3 years depending on the law school. And after that, I will practice law. I'm still determining what field of law that I want to practice, but I know that I'd like to be an attorney, maybe at a law firm, and then later campaign to be a judge.
Okay. And my last question, how do you feel about the class so far?
About this class, Digital Archival Research, is actually one of my favorite classes right now. I love the readings. I love learning about different historical figures that I've never heard of before, such as Polly Murray, or learning more about Ida B. Wells. I had heard like bits and pieces about her before, but it's really empowering to learn about the rebelliousness of these different Black women in history and how they fought against the double standards and the hypocrisy of the civil rights movement and the women's rights movement, and they lobbied for their own rights because they experienced this intersectionality of racism and sexism. So it's been a great experience. I love the field trips, I love the readings, I love the class discussions and the documentaries that we watch. So overall, it's been a great experience.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have for you.
Thank you.